game ready, steady aim at the target. I'm flooding the market, a break from the garbage. An artist, sensitive about mind pardon. No margin for error, flawless be bearer. The black cat goddess, you walking with a panther. Painting these pictures with words like...
Hey, it's your girl, Madam Money, aka Trap, and welcome to the Salt in the Game official album review of Black Thought, Stream of Thought 3, Cain and Abel. Make sure you hit that like button, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and let's get it. Now, you know, Black Thought in his Stream of Thought series, he's worked with just one producer. Volume 1 was Knife Wonder, Volume 2, Salam Raimi, and this one is produced entirely by Sean C. He is from he's from back in the day. I'm trying to polish this shit up. He's from back in the day. He's really like, you know, a piece of the Hitman Squad over there in Diddy's camp. He did all of American Hustler. He works with Ghostface a lot. He did like crutches, crosses, caskets for Pusha T, and recently I really did enjoy his work with Joey Badass on No Explanations on the Light Pack. That also has Pusha T on there, whatever have you. Black Thought, was supposed to put out this album. We see the untimely passing of you know, one of his people that he loves and respects. Malik B died, so he pushed the album back. But he's been working. He's been actually working. You know, we've seen him on verses for Shade Noir on As God Intended. And I do want to point out, too, that the artwork for Shade Noir's As God Intended is very similar, even though it's a different color scheme, to Streams of Thought 2, which is just a book with an emblem on it, whatever. Just a little dope thing out there that y'all probably don't pay attention to, that I pay attention to. He also was on The Sharecropper's Daughter with Shot Rock that just passed. He was on Who Made the Sunshine with Saigon Iskabibbles track or whatever have you. And he also was on Music to Be Murdered By, which I know a lot of y'all don't listen to, but he was on the track with Royce the 5'9". Yeah, but let's get into this. This kicks off with a track called I'm Not Crazy, and it's like this chopped and screwed, like cut up pieces of his verse in between speeches and, you know, sounds of like police brutality or whatever have you. I was reading about the producer a little bit more in here, and he said his thought process in this particular track was to make it real. This is actually like the sound you hear when it's like the police talking to somebody screaming at him. That's Sean C. feature on this album. That's him actually talking to police after coming home from a studio session one night and running across you know, injustice out in the field. So he threw that on there. I thought this was excellent. It was dope to see this shit start off chopped and screwed. To be honest with you, that's one of my personal favorite like subgenres of hip hop. That, you know, they are now like chop not slop coming out and stuff like that. So I really appreciate people keeping the art form alive when it comes down to that. The next track on here called State Prisoner, and this was like a hard way to officially start the album off too, with the first like full track on here. It's crazy because like you know, he's been in some controversy with what's been going on with Jaguar Wright and stuff like that. And I really don't even want to bring it up, but I have to, because that's what's been happening. And I think he kind of addresses that on here, as well as addressing like our mental state when it comes down to what's going on out in the street and stuff like that. You know, I think that this is something that needs to be dissected a lot on this album, dog. Next track on here, Good Morning, featuring Pusha T and Killer Mike. Now, this is one of the singles that dropped that I did listen to before, because I thought that the album was coming out the next week over, so I wasn't mad at this, or a couple of days before, so I was trying to hear what was going on here. And it's crazy because Pusha T, he does what he does on this track, and like Black Thought does what he does, and Killer Mike does what he does. And this is one of those tracks I wish I would have seen like Pusha T elevate his verse a little bit, or get a little bit more in depth out of that, you know, just drug dealer talk all the time, whatever, even though that's what he's there for, that's what he's known for, you feel me? But it was kind of like Killer Mike was bigging him up and talking bad about him at the same time on his verse in here. Black Thought on here, he makes, you know, a couple of like Hove track references. He says Lucifer, son of the morning, and then like ends it off in encore and stuff like that. I thought that was really, really fly. So that was dope. Next track on here, Magnificent. This is like a personal fight in the game. Like he's, talking about his trials and tribulations in the game. He says on here, when you're a beast, you cease not to give a fuck. And I definitely understand where you're coming from because I'm a beast. But he also says on here, 10 years before state property was rock la familiar, I was popping pills, unaware that I was supposed to be sharpening steel. And it's like, yo, something like that is really, really deep to start off a song. Like 10 years before state property was rock la familiar, I was popping pills. So like he wasn't on his grind. He didn't think he was nice. He didn't think he was as hard as he was, and he wasn't even keeping his skills in order. So something about that time frame for him is really, really reflective, and it bothers him. He got it off his chest. I do want to say on this whole album too, is not structured like like its counterparts 1 and 2. It's really, really free for all. Like, and I don't want to say it's just freestyle after freestyle, because we know his work on a freestyle is really like him, like attacking the mic. And even though he does attack the mic on a couple of tracks here, this is just like a more free, like stream of thought type of process, even though, like I said, on those other ones he coming a little harder on volume 1 and volume 2. But as we continue, it's like an interlude on here called Experience. That was a little dope. I don't know if it's him talking or what, but it definitely was reflective of how he felt coming off of that magnificent track. Next track on here, and this is where it gets kind of crazy for me, because it's back-to-back tracks, Quick Trip and like Nature of the Beast, and it's these like grassroots kind of hooks and stuff on there. And like, we're not really used to seeing Black Thought by himself even using hooks. So to see these type of hooks on there, this is a choice that he chose to make on there. It was really, really crazy. Even though he's spitting. Nature of the Beast is really like more like an optimistic type motivational track or whatever. Quiet Trip is a little different. I believe like he starts it off saying like 215, and we know that's Philly, that's where he's from, but I think he's more taking it into a reference of the track 215 on volume 1 on this. But damn, he's like, yo, it's like boggles my mind. Like, this man could be so nice. Like, it's things he says that it's just like so in depth, and you have to be on a level of knowledge to understand what he's saying here, that it takes time to research some of these bars, because he makes reference that's not common. Like, it's not common for everybody to know these references. The next track on here is We Could Be Good, and that's a relationship track, and that's just playing into this thing of like, it starts off with two like a male and a female arguing, and the female's like, the only time we interact is during social media. You're not there. And he speaks about his own experiences in there, and who he owes his sorries to on this path that he took, and who he neglected on this path that he's taking in the industry and the game. And I really did appreciate that, because there's just something like, is heavy content, but the bars ain't that heavy there. You know what I mean? Like, you don't gotta sit here with a encyclopedia trying to figure out what's going on there. Ghetto Boys and Girls, that's like a prelude to the track Fuel. Fuel was really dope to me. Fuel is one of these standout tracks on here. I want y'all to tell me how y'all feel about Fuel. Oh, that's what I want y'all to do in the comments below. I also too want y'all to see how does this rank amongst the other two streams of thought that came out. But I thought that Fuel was one of these tracks that I want to really talk to y'all and engage with y'all about, and tell y'all my feelings about it as I'm talking to y'all with it. Number I might have jumped over. Sorry, guys. Number 9 on here. Yes, I did, because Steakum featuring Schoolboy Q. Now, I was surprised to see Schoolboy Q on a Black Thought album. Now, to spit with Black Thought, that's a major accolade. That means that he deals with you, he knows you, he respects your pen, and he knows that you're going to bring something hard to the table. Now, this was like, we don't really even see Black Thought spit with a West Coast rapper, and this was like really, really dope. I was really, really proud and like happy for Schoolboy Q to have like a Black Thought feature underneath his belt, because we're not used to seeing nothing like that. This starts off with Dave Chappelle and one of his like recent Netflix series, whatever, talking about slavery and everything like that. Really, really just a dope track. Black Thought on here, he says, like, what's a goon to a goblin? What's goblin to Amin Ramen? And I want to ask y'all, is what's a goon to a goblin Lil Wayne's most, like, quotable quote? Like, is that the one that everybody leans into and respects and says over? Is that Lil Wayne's most quotable quote? Or what do you think Lil Wayne's most quotable quote is? Because I never thought in 1,000 years I would see Black Thought say, like, you know, what's a goon to a goblin? Like, you feel me? But he freaked it out. He's flipped it on here. Number 10 is Thought versus Everybody. We seen on the first one, you know, Ninth versus Black Thought, but this one is Thought versus Everybody. Him just spitting and just going, doing what he does. I know this came out a while back too. This was like one of the pre rollouts for singles for this album that came out a while back. I got a video attached to it, all of this stuff. But this is just, you know, one of those tracks where it just he separates himself from everybody else yet again and lets you know, like, you know, he's a god MC for real. There ain't no plaything going on here. Since I did skip around a little bit, you feel me, that Fuel track came in here. And the last track on here is the I'm Not Crazy outro. It just plays into the intro on here. But I really do want to know, what do you guys think about this project? I always ask y'all, what do y'all think about Black Thought in general? Like, where does he land on your top you know, MCs list and stuff like that? And it's crazy because when you make a top 10, right? Y'all say it's MCs, but it really be rappers. You feel me? I want your top 5 MCs, and y'all understand the difference when I ask you that. So it's a couple questions I asked y'all in here. I want to know how y'all felt about Fuel. I want to know if what's a goon to a goblin is real, like, Lil Wayne's most quotable quote. And I also want to know your top 5, like, MCs, not rappers. Don't put no rappers in here. You feel me? Because this man gotta come in there somewhere. And it's crazy because, like, 1,000 years from now, somebody will go through his work and he is what hip hop really is, like quintessentially hip hop, just because of the layers of his bar work. So I'm about to get out of here. Let me know how y'all feel about the project as well. But I'm Madam Money. You can follow me on Twitter at Madam Money Says. That's MADAMMONEYSAYS, and on IG. Dog, like, yo, he like, it's crazy because, like, I'm still stutter stepping off of some tracks on this fucking album, and I think that I know a lot, like, outside of hip hop. Like, I think I'm deeper than rap, but some of these tracks on here is deeper than rap.
Profiling Mr. Wolf on the alley. Backed by a battalion, $1 million smiling. East, west, north, south, I covered all of it. Here to build like the gods holding parliament.